Okay, here we are. Welcome to the first in a series of short demonstrations of how to manipulate and edit digital pictures. I'll show you how to clean them up, as a lot of people want to know how to do that, and maybe later on even some artistic effects. For the purposes of learning this, we're going to use a software package called Photo Studio, and it was created by Arcsoft in 1994. And I've actually been using it since then. I've used many other things too. But it was a very wonderful piece of software, beautifully designed, I might add. And it runs on everything. It ran on Windows 3 and it runs on everything right up through Windows 7. And we're on Windows 7 right now. We've just opened it, and you look at it, you say, oh, look at this. We have tools over here on the right. We have brush, and we have color palette. These are called palettes, by the way. And you can see over here in the thing called View, it says Tools Palette, Color Palette, Brush Palette. Hide them. If you hide the color palette, it goes away. That's what hide means. It's showing it. It shows it up down here. The Tools Palette, let's look at that. We're going to use this a lot. Each one of these is a different tool. For example, this is the magnifying tool. That will make things bigger and smaller. This is the pen tool. But how do I know that? Well, if you come down here, let me just show you something. I'm going to point to the pencil. Look down there to the right of this, on the bottom. It says paints like a pen. Oh, forget the double click stuff. We'll get into that later. If I come over, let's say I come up to, I don't know. This thing looks like a sunshine. Brightens or darkens. That's pretty interesting stuff. That A, what does that mean? It means adds text to image. Oh, so if I want to put any letters or anything over an image, that's what I'll use. That's the first tool. It's very good. I like that. Okay, so we see right away that this tools palette is pretty powerful. Furthermore, you'll see there's two colors at the bottom. And the first color is the primary right now. It's the one, if I was to paint something with that paint tool, it says over here the paint pen, it would be green. If I click on the white and I paint, it would be white. If I didn't want the green, I could come over here to the color palette and say pick up red. There it is. Now if that red isn't exactly right, I can double click the red. Oh, wow, look at this. Look at this. This is a lot of shades, all the shades. This is a 24-bit color system. If you count the number of columns and rows here, you'll see there's 32 columns by 8 rows. 32 is 2 to the 5th power, 8 is 2 to the 3rd. You add them together, you get 2 to the 8th, or 256, which is the 2 to the 8th power, which is like a byte. And there you have these nice colors here, but every single one of them, because we have 24-bit, can be further enhanced and refined. You can get very fine shades of colors, as you see I'm doing now. I'm not going to open up a file. It's actually a picture. And the picture is just an abstract that I put together. And I'm going to take a little tool here. That's the paints like a pen. And I'm going to paint like a pen. Here you go. Oh, look at this. Okay. Wow. That's nice. Now, if I don't like that, I can come up here to edit and I can undo. One shortcoming of this package is that you can only undo the last thing you did. Watch what happens if I do the following. I'll paint it again. Pretty much. I could have restored it, but that's okay. I lift my finger and I go like this. Now when I undo, it only undoes the bottom. And I'm stuck with what's there. Well, not really, because I can go like this if need be, can't I? Oh, okay. Well, that sort of takes it out. That's a lot of work. Well, let me show you something else. Over here, there's something called the brush palette. And the size that it's talking about is in pixels. That's 8 pixels wide. Oh, well, what if I make it a lot wider? Like 31 pixels wide. Oh, by the way, the shape is round. I'll show you the difference. And then I go like this. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You see, now you could look at how easily we erase that. See that? So the brush palette can be used. Normally, we don't use it quite at 32. And depending on what you're doing. By the way, if I set the square here, we need some color to see it. If I set the square, you'll see the difference. See, that's the square. And here's the circle. And you can play with this all you want. Let me go back to the square again. You'll see on the curves. It's a little different on the square. And if you play with this stuff a lot, immediately become sensitive and aware of what's going on. Now I'm going to erase these the hard way, but there's a much easier way. I don't want to show it to you yet. So we're going to, why not? Let's do it. There's a tool here. It's called Fill with Active Color Similarity. Now watch. I'm going to click on the, I can't do that. What I have to do, no, I don't want to do that yet. I'm going to go back to this. Don't let me jump the gun on this one. Okay, here we go. Let's get rid of this. Okay, now another thing you can do if you're going to write on an area or work in an area, you'll see working on a picture in an area, that you can sort of seal the area off, as it were, and if you make a mistake, you're not going to lose work. You're not going to lose the original work. For example, I'm going to go to this little square thing which says makes a rectangular selection, and I'm going to go like that. Okay? And now I'm going to pick a color, green, and I'm going to play around. Oh, sorry, I need the a pointer of some sort, the paintbrush. Here we go, the paint thing. What happened? Did we lose? Yes, I think we lost what we were doing here. So let me start that over again. Let me go back to this rectangle, make the rectangle right here, and come over to this tool. Okay, here we go. There it is. And we make this big, messy glob in the middle. I'll show you how to make artwork out of this stuff, by the way. Okay, messy glob, very messy glob. Now, down in the lower right-hand corner here, it says removes mask and restores underlying original. I'm going to click that. Well, let's do that again. Come up here. Well, actually, I can undo that discard and bring it back. Look at that. Hey, we got some stuff going on here. You see what I just did? I said, okay, I don't want that. And I said, oh my, I really do want that. So I came up here to edit, and I said, undo the discard. Hey, that's nice. In fact, while I'm at it, see this thing here? It says moves the current mask. Well, that dotted line, that's a mask. That's a thing, you know. Hey. And then this one over here says moves the current mask and its contents. Watch this. Oh, I just blew it. That's not going to do anything for us. Not now. Not anymore. So I'm just going to have to go the fast way and just get rid of it that way. We'll get back to that later. Okay, here we go. I am going to increase the size of this thing using that magnifying glass. And finally, you see those jagged edges? Okay, that means we've hit the resolution barrier, if you will. This is 200 dots per inch, and if I keep enlarging it, eventually you'll see the square, pixels are square. Well, they look like they're square rectangles. And eventually we come to them and you see them. Now, if that was 1200 dots per inch, I'd have to do at least 6 times more magnifications before I start to see the jagged edge. So the more dots per inch you have, the finer it is. However, the file gets very large. If I go from 200 to 400 dots per inch, you don't just double the size of the file. It goes 4 times because it's the square law. If I go from 200 to 600 dots per inch, it's not 3 times. It's 9 times as big. So what was, let's say, almost 3 million bytes would now be 27 million bytes. That's a big difference, okay? So, and you don't want to be messing around with super large files, especially if you're going to try and send them on an email, because whoever you're sending them to you will hunt you down like a mad dog if they ever even get it in their own lifetime. That'll be much later after your ISP has called you up and thrown you off their account for having jammed up their machine. They used to do that years ago. Okay, now what I'm going to do is open up another file. It's going to look kind of familiar. Oh, it's the same file. Same thing. Look, here it is, view. Information, hey, it's 5 inches, 200, 2930. Same file. Not really. This is an important lesson, a very important lesson. Notice the name of the first file, testsquared.bmp, bitmap. The second file is testsquared.jpg, JPEG. Actually, it's JPEG was the original, Joint Photographic Engineers Group. JPEG is a compressed form of let's say this BMP. Just as in music, 1 minute of music is 10 million bytes, and it's called raw audio, and therefore a 600 megabyte CD would hold about 20 3-minute songs. So, 3 times 10 is 30, 3 times 600 million. If you MP3 it, however, that 10 million bytes per minute goes down to 1 million. Now, a 3-minute song is only 3 million bytes, and 3 million into 600 million is 200 times. Oh, wow. So you could get 200 songs on that CD, where before you only got 20. So let's go take a look at something here. You're going to be a little shocked at this, I think. Let's go out here, and here is the file of the test square BMP. Okay, I'm going to look at its properties, and it says, here it is, it's 3 million bytes. Okay? The size on disk is always a little larger because on disk it's going to take up certain pointers and it goes into an index. So it's 3,002,368 bytes. Okay, now the JPEG, on the other hand, let's look at its properties. Wow, 32,000. Not even close. Not even close. That's 1/100th. Think about that. 1/100th. 32,000. 32,000 by 10 is only 320,000. By 10 again is 3 million. Roughly, it's 1 in 100. It's 1% of what the BMP. So if you're going to do emails or you want to put something up on a web page, use the JPEG. And don't just put it up there and hope that it's going to be nice. What you need to do is to check out, view it, and see the image information. And while we're on image information, I'm going to show you a little trick. If you ran as BMP or even as JPEG up onto a web page, it would be 5 inches wide. That's a lot. Sometimes there's a lot of space and you don't want to use it. But what do? Very simply, you go to Transform and you resample. And where it's 1,000 pixels, I'm going to say, okay, make it 400. I just arbitrarily took that. Now you're going to see it's going to be a lot smaller. Oh, now it's only 2 inches. Before it was 5. That makes sense. 40% of 5 is 2. So it's 2 inches now, and that's reasonable. You can deal with that. Sometimes even that isn't reasonable, and maybe you have to go down a lot lower. You may have to say, okay, I'm going to I'm going to resample this thing down to 50. There it is. That's very small. That's almost icon size. But you could build an icon with this, and that's exactly how you do it. And let's go look at the size of this. There'll be no surprises here. It's 1/4 of an inch. And you just do the math, work it out. You'll see that's exactly what happens. So you'll see that the type of file makes a lot. These BMP, JPEG, there's a lot of them, in fact. They're really encoding systems. Let me show you something. You go to save something. Let's say down at the bottom, save as type. Just look at this. This is 14 years ago, and they had many more then. BMPs, TIFs, PCX, GIF, TGA, JPEG, EPS. There's a whole bunch more. PNG is a very popular one, and you'll see it if you do Android apps. For some reason, it seems to be very popular with that. So, by the way, GIF is the old animation. You want to make animation, you use GIFs. You stack one on top of the other, and it works. So just so you see, there are differences in the file type that you're using. Now we're going to have some fun. We're going to take a color. Let's take, let's take a nice, this color here. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a tool. This paint tool. And I'm just going to mess around with it a little bit. Okay, there's the paint tool, right? Okay, now I'm not using a mask, so I'm flying in a sense, if you will, without a protection, without an airbag, all right? If I hit undo paint, it'll go away, and I can redo the paint. Okay, now, let me get back to where we were. I can always make that brush size. Remember, that's 26. That size is 26. Now, in order to repair a picture, you don't want to really use this. There are times when you will use this. But the one you really want to use is this thing over here, a little plus sign. And it says copies pixels. Remember we talked about pixels. Watch this. By the way, notice something. When I use this color over here, it would have changed the colors on the tools. But pixels doesn't. It doesn't do anything. And the reason is simple. Watch. this is moving pixels. From here, I'm going to right click this and big deal. What it did was it just lifted the pixels here. And by the way, you'll notice this circular. If I hit the square, right click it, see, comes out square. And if I hit this straight up and down, click it, you can barely see them, okay? Now here's where it gets to be fun. Let me go to the edge, right here. Right click it. Okay. Look at that. You see what I just did? Went here to the edge, I right clicked. It picks up all the pixels in a circle around that spot. Or, if you wish, put a square there. Come over here, right click. Now, move the pixels there. And oh, wow, 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 wow. You see what you can do? I'm going to show you now how you use this to clean up a picture. And we're going to do it right now. So we don't need these guys anymore. We're just going to put them away, and we're going to bring in a picture that you're going to have some fun with. That's this one right here. Yeah, this is an old picture from the 19th century, and we're going to take a look at its image information. It's pretty big. It's 6 by 9. It's 200 dots per inch. It's 7.7 million bytes. Okay, and it's a BMP. Okay, it's not a JPEG or anything. That doesn't really matter, although BMPs will have more information. TIFFs usually have even more than that. Now watch what I'm going to do. You see all these smudges around here? Okay, what I'm going to do is take that little tool with the plus sign, and I'm going to come right here where it looks good. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to come over the bad one here. Did you see what I did? Let me undo that. Look at that. That's a smudge. But then when I right clicked on it, it went away. Now if I come close to this smudge here and I look, wait a minute. Are you telling? Yes, I am. Look at this. It's taking it all away. Now notice another thing too. You don't go way far away over here, let's say, and pick it up and come here, because that's what you're going to get. It's not going to work. What you want to do is come as close as you can to it and pick it up. But I went too close because I'm using 26. That's pretty big. The size of the square is 26 pixels. So when I picked up near it, I actually picked up the bad pixel, and when I dropped it, I just pushed the bad pixel over. So I'm going to drop that down to about 15. That's good. Now when I come near the bad pixel here, oh, look at that. And the idea is you have a lot to do. You pick the pixels from around. Don't just always pick them from the same spot. Sort of randomize it, because it gives you a really, really good repair. You cannot tell when you do it this way. You pick these pixels up. When you move a person's head from one body to another, this is how you do it. On photographs, I've done it many times, and it works like a charm. In fact, here we go. If you go down to I think it's the Kennedy Space Center I was at. They have this room. You sit on these boxes, but you sit in a funny way. They take a picture, and then she either uses pixelizing like this, and she removes. It was a she who was doing it, and she removes the support. So they take it back to people. Say, "Oh, we were in the, the anti-gravity room," and people buy that. You're like, "Yeah, we had the anti-gravity room. I saw that with my own eyes." Yeah, right. Anti-gravity, like there is such a thing. Okay, so this. Right over here. There's another one. Now, what you have to do, your assignment, see, look at that. See it? Now, you see, this is the brush size, is taking out pieces of it. Generally speaking, it's better to do that because you can grab more pixels from around, and it doesn't show as a repair. If you use the same color, it's going to show, say, hey, there's something wrong there. So you notice I'm moving all over the place here, picking pixels close by, and that repair looks really good. Let's take this last one here on its cheek. I'm going to come here. And I'm going to notice that I am taking pixels from all around. You didn't know that was there, did you? Okay. Oh, that one was bad. Immediately, you should come right up here and just say, undo that. I happen to like the round, but I'm going back to the round. And I'm going to try him again. And I'm going to pick it from here. And, okay, we're good now. I'm going to take this guy and pick him here. You see? That's how you do it. So, you can have a lot of fun. That is how you repair a digital photograph. And the last thing I want to show you, very last, is it here? No, it's one more picture. And before the next session, the last thing is I'm going to open an old picture. I like that. This is a real picture. I think my grandfather's actually on the back of this thing. It's from about probably 1890s or so. It's on Staten Island, believe it or not. And see this magnifying glass? Watch. Boom, boom, boom. Makes it bigger. Then the right click makes it smaller. I love it. Up here it says enhance. Watch this. I'm going to click something called equalization. Look what it just did. You see? Look at that picture. I'm going to undo. I'm going to. Wow. Wow. Look what the equalization does. It's amazing. This equalization is very powerful stuff. I wrote an article for a philatelic magazine last summer showing how using equalization, a few other simple techniques, I was able to show removed cancellations on very rare stamps on eBay. So it does happen. Oftentimes the person selling it doesn't even know it. So that's another thing you have. So you can play around. You've got a lot of tools now. We'll see you next time.